Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cubicle 7 seminar at UK Games Expo, Virtually Expo. It's a bit strange not seeing you all this year. It's been, we've been sponsors and attendees at UK Games Expo since the very beginning. So, yeah, it's peculiar. We've missed seeing everybody, but we're looking forward to what the virtual expo has to offer, and we've got loads of things lined up as well. So hopefully we'll get to talk to a load of you over the course of the weekend. We are, one thing I'd say at the beginning, is, I want to say a big thank you to everybody. Obviously, it's been a very, very strange time, and everybody's been absolutely fantastic. We've really felt the love and the support and the passion of everybody, and it's really blown us away. So I wanted to say a huge thank you for all that. We've obviously, since last year, we've had lots of things going on. We've had the Wrath and Glory rulebook has been released, and the Age of Sigmar Soulbound rulebook that's had in PDF, and will be coming soon in hard copy, but we'll talk about that a bit more later. We have had loads more stuff for WFRP, and we've had a few more faces joining the team. Lots going on. So yes, we've got lots of great stuff to talk to you about. So I'm Don McDowall. I run Cubicle 7, and I am joined today by a number of the team, and I'll just run through those quickly now. We have Emmet Byrne, who is the producer for Age of Sigmar Soulbound RPG, amongst other things. We have Pàdraig Murphy, who is the producer for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Zach Dale-Clutterbuck, who is the producer for Warhammer 40,000 Wrath and Glory. Excellent. So we'll be talking today about things that we've got in the pipelines, and things that you may have seen recently, some recent releases, as they're otherwise known. But as part of the Virtual Expo, we have a range of things going on. We have a virtual booth where you can come and chat to the Cubicle 7 team. And that's at ukgamesexpo.co.uk/virtuallyexpo. We have a dedicated Cubicle 7 website for the expo, and that is cubicle7games.com/UKGE. And we'll have lots of content going on there as all through the show. We've got some virtual games that we're running, and the details of those will be on the website. And we have a Discord server. The link's on our website there, where you can come along and chat to us over the weekend. We'll have some video updates as well. So lots of exciting stuff. Drop by and say hello. If you haven't heard of Cubicle 7 before, then that's us. We're the award-winning creative team behind Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound role-playing game, Warhammer 40,000 Wrath and Glory, the Doctor Who role-playing game, Lone Wolf Adventure game, and loads more. So that is us. And we're based in Ireland. We've been struggling with the same things that you've been struggling with over the last few months of lockdown, and all learning how the new ways of working from home, and juggling childcare and all that sort of thing. So we had a few of us getting back into the office now, so things are starting to move towards the new normal, as everybody seems to be talking about, and we'll see what that looks like. If you're new to role-playing games, then we have loads of advice on our website, so do take a look on there, and that will give you some hints and tips on how to get started. Okay, see, I've got notes because I'm rubbish at remembering things. So I think that's about it, although I did have some questions, and that was... okay.
Pop quiz.
I know there'd be a quiz.
Oh, no. Shit, I didn't do my homework. I'm having flashbacks.
It's not going to look natural now. So Emmet, did you know that all orders on cubicle7games.com include a PDF?
Oh wow, that's incredible. That's a great deal.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's just amazing. And Pàdraig, did you know that we sell just the PDF of our games we sell on our website now, as well as on Drive-Thru RPG?
No, that's amazing. So if you just want the PDF, you can come and get that right from us.
Absolutely.
And will you get all the updates that happen with the PDF? If new maps are added
on the thing, it's really cool.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Zach, did you know we love to support local game stores?
I did know that, but how are we doing it?
Well, have you heard of Bits and Mortar?
I have. It's an amazing scheme that allows you to get the PDF from your friendly local game store, isn't it?
That's right. And they just have to sign up to the Bits and Mortar scheme, and then they can do that. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing, and I think everyone should encourage their local store to do that.
I think they should. I'm going to go straight after this and encourage my local store. Excellent.
That was great. It reminded me of that scene in Ghostbusters. No, but genuinely though, having PDFs is super helpful at the moment. Obviously, with so many people gaming remotely. We also have form fillable, or at least PDF character sheets and stuff on the website. So if anyone needs them, you can go to the resources section of the website and share them all around.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome, cool. And we also have a range of translation partners as well. So I don't think we've got a list of that on the website at the moment. That's in the development area, so we should have that soon for a list of all our wonderful partners across the globe who translate our games for their local market, which is awesome.
What did I see on your desk the other day, Dom? Rough Knocked, was it?
Oh yes. The German Rough Nights and Hard Days.
Yeah.
And what else have we seen lately? We've seen the. Now, actually, I'm going, whoa, what's been announced?
Let's just move on.
Although, I will add that I think German language Woofer products have an extra level of authenticity. So you should also buy those as well as.
Excellent. Yep, definitely. Okay, great. Now we'll talk about loads of stuff as we go, but we're going to roughly run through in sort of line by line. So we're going to start with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So Pàdraig, could you give us a brief intro of what we've got for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay at the moment?
I certainly can. So probably most people listening to the stream are familiar with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, but if you're not, it's a role-playing set in the amazing old world, the Empire in particular, of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It's got quite a long pedigree. It's 30 years, nearly 40. And we're in the fourth edition, and I've been extremely lucky to work on it. Yeah, it's got good pedigree. Age of Sigmar will get there someday, Emmet, don't worry.
Yeah. I just count my years, like, oh my god, that means I'm almost that old.
So Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay it's a fantastic game of grim and perilous adventure in the old world. It's really, really good. So we have the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay core book, which was an Emmy award-winning piece of work. Absolutely fantastic game released in 2018. It's all you need to play, but we also have an awful lot of products in support of that. And the first one I would advise anyone to get, if you're not familiar with the setting, or even if you are, the starter set is a really, really great way to get into Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay or role-playing games in general. It contains a bunch of pre-generated characters, background information on the city of Ubersreich, and a ton of adventures. It will keep you busy for a while by itself.
Excellent. I was going to rudely interrupt there because I think that's really it's one of those things that I feel really strongly about with starter sets in general. I think when we're making starter sets, I think we try to put quite a lot into it. So that you've got the introduction to role playing and the introduction to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. But you've also got a lot of content there that's going to give you adventures for months to come, isn't it? There's you've got the original, the adventure that teaches you how to play, and then loads of content to take those adventures further.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got Doing the Rounds, which is we won't do any spoilers, but it's a really nice introduction to several different locations and factions around Ubersreich in quite an entertaining way. But then on top of that, we also did a section of like one-pager adventures that are a bit more than an adventure seed, but like are there to, you need to elaborate a bit on those to run a full session out of them, but they're all really, really unique and contain everything you need to run an additional adventure. And then the setting guide you will be referencing forever, and I know that because I reference it all the time when I need to check something. So the town of Ubersreich is very much expanded upon as a setting. It's great, and it can lead you right into our Ubersreich Adventures line. Ubersreich Adventures 1 is out now, which is 6 adventures that carry on from like build on your relationships with people in the town of Ubersreich, take place in and around it. So yeah, there's nothing that starter set has like a really good lasting value. I do think it's a really good item, and the pre-gen characters are much beloved. as well, and they come in these very nice gatefold sheets. So if you want to impress your friends with how cool Woof is, that's a great thing to hand them.
Yeah, one of the things we've tried to do with Woof as well is really capture that kind of the sense of humour that's present in so much of the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay adventures over the years. I think there's some really nice touches in the starter set.
I remember like running that for my friends, and one of my mates was like the Amethyst wizard, and he just wanted to be friends with people, but unfortunately someone else was playing the Witch Hunter, and someone else was playing, I can't remember, there's another character in it who hates the wizard, but basically we had a 3-person group, and it was the wizard and the Witch Hunter, and I can't remember who the third character is, and he just wanted friends, but no one would be his friends. Everyone just assumed he was a heretic.
And he's good, and he toes the line generally on everything, and even so,
you get a bad rep when you walk around in creepy robes and with a huge scythe.
Yeah, I think it's the scythe that does it the most, isn't it?
The scythe does not help. No, that's true. So as I said, a great starter set, and really, really nice. And I mentioned Uber's Adventures, which are 6 unique adventures, the last of which, the Guilty Party, is a perfect segue, a very natural segue for anything into the Enemy Within. You see what I did there?
Wow.
The Enemy Within is probably one of the best known, and for good reason, campaigns of any role-playing game. It's a little bit legendary with reason. It starts with Enemy in Shadows, which actually collects the original 2 parts of the initial campaign, Shadows over Bogenhafen and the Enemy Within, and it's the kickoff to something pretty epic, and it's been exciting to work on redoing that along with one of the original authors and visionaries behind it, Graham Davies, who's gone out of his way to add a ton of director's cut material to it, essentially. So even if you've played it before, there are a whole lot of twists and surprises you can add in there for parties that might be familiar with it from older editions. And if you've never played it, it is by far the best edition, if I do say so myself, which is actually that there's so many people have had input into it to make it what it is, but it is probably the best edition of that campaign ever.
As Graham said, wasn't it? It's had 30 years of playtest.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even in our playtests, I think it was last week, you managed to trick our group with one of the Gronyard boxes.
Yeah, that was great.
How unexpected they are. Like that, we were thrown off and like, oh no, wait.
Yeah. And one of the players had worked on that campaign with me quite closely, and he was like, really was fresh in his mind, So he had been like, no surprises. I won't talk too much, so the other guys get to experience it. And so then it was great to throw on the little Gronyard box and watch the dawning realization that no one was coming back to let him out. It was very good.
I will never forgive you for that, but it will be very fun to play through.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice ideas in there, so that's great. And so what's out right now is Enemy in Shadows, which is the first part of that, and the Enemy in Shadows Companion. So they're available for order right now in print, along with their very exciting collector's edition, which you can just see over Dom's shoulders on the shelves there. The collector's edition comes with an extra set of handouts in a fabulous, beautiful slipcase with one-of-a-kind covers that I think are really, really cool. The Ace of Hammers and More Sleep. So they've got some nice print treatment as well. So they're great. The second book that you're seeing is the companion to Enemy in Shadows. So there are 5 parts of the Enemy Within campaign. We're doing a companion for each one. The Enemy in Shadows companion is out right now, and the Death on the Reich companion will be out soon. And they provide like a ton of extra material. And I keep saying this, but even if you don't ever want to play this campaign because you've done it before, you just really don't want to do such a big campaign, the Enemy in Shadows companion and the Death on the Right companion to come, they're almost worth picking up just for the amount of material in them. If you're planning on doing anything in or around the Reichland, you get tons of extra NPCs, updated classic adventures from older editions, loads of ideas for additional rules for travel, additional encounters. They are packed with some great material from other editions and a bunch of novel stuff as well. So if you've ever really wanted to be a
toolkit, isn't it?
If you look through all of the careers and you thought, oh, there's no cult magister Tzeentch in here, how can I worship my Dark Lord and Master properly? Well, you can find that career in the Enemy in Shadows companion. So there's a good pile of stuff in there. and that is something that's going to continue through the entire 5-part series. So I have seen ahead into the future, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. So that's The Enemy Within. We also have the GM screen out. I actually can't talk for too long because it will dominate this entire video.
There's a lot, isn't there?
There is a lot.
In the pipeline.
The GM screen is brilliant. It's one of the nicest GM screens I've ever seen for any game. It's on really good material. It has a bunch of useful things. NPC generators, lots of constantly like important rules and tables that you refer to all the time. Nice section on speeding through combat and the advantage system and how that works. It's excellent, and it comes with a really nice GM's booklet that has a guide to how to run Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, because it is a kind of unique setting in that you're not always big damn heroes to begin with. You may never be. You may just be trying to climb out of the gutter and finding your way out. And the GM screen booklet contains a lot of information on the themes, you know, social and class struggle, the conflict between politics and religion and just secular issues that happen. It's really, really good, and you should pick that up as well. I think it's got some great advice in there. And yeah, that's a lot of what's out at the moment. We have very big plans for the coming months of additional books, which maybe we can circle back on that. I feel like I've been talking for too long. We should.
You've got so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's ask Emma, what's your favorite thing in the pipeline?
For Wolfrup or for my stuff?
For
I can't wait to see Middenheim. I'm really looking forward to Middenheim. I've taken a peek at the art board for Middenheim. I think it's going to be really, really nice.
Yeah.
Is Dave Allen writing a chunk of that? Am I right?
Yeah, Dave Allen did a Trojan amount of work on collating and updating older material and writing some novel stuff to go in, and the end product is very nice. Even so, the Middenheim book is really useful in support of part of the Enemy Within campaign, but even more so than companions, it stands completely on its own. If you've been playing through the default setting of 4th edition, which is Ubersreich and the Reichland in general, it's a great way to get out and have a really well-developed city packed with interesting characters, loads of NPCs, lots of items, a ton of puns. They're so good.
I think it feels very different though as a city. I feel like it feels much more different than kind of what we've been playing through at the moment, and you know, with Ubersreich and stuff like that. It's a really nice change to it. It feels, I don't know, slightly more alien to what, you know, someone coming from Ubersreich might expect.
Yeah, Southerners, as Middenheimers do tend to find the city different. You know, the people there can be a bit colder, except during carnival time, perhaps. But the city itself is very striking. It's built on a huge plateau of rock, struck flat by the god Ulrich himself, as any proud Ulrican will be proud to tell you, called the Fauschlag. And it has a history as old as the empire, if not older. And it's part of the empire, but as a very powerful city-state, stands a little bit apart as well. And that's, I think, highlighted in the religion of Middenheim, which they generally are followers of Ulrich as opposed to the imperial god Sigmar. And that does also, I think, create interesting social dynamics and room for gameplay, and things to explore that make it. I really like Middenheim. It's a great setting.
It is. It really is. And then we've got Altdorf following as well on from that as well. So we'll have the second city book.
Yeah,
looking forward to that. Yeah, Zach, what's your favourite?
We talk about the zoo. We can't talk about the zoo, can we?
Well, we might mention that maybe something.
Oh, do you mean the Zoom meeting that we're on right now?
The Zoom meeting that we're on. I feel like we've already talked about what I'm excited for enough. No, I'm very excited for Power Behind the Throne. Pàdraig's actually running us through it now in playtesting, and it is stunning.
That's been great.
Just how many twists and turns there are, how different it is to the original while keeping the same kind of core. Like, you can feel all the different avenues that you could have gone down, and obviously with the extra information from the Middenheim book as well, it just feels so fleshed out and alive. It feels like there is nothing I could try to do that wouldn't kind of be prepared for between those books. And it just it feels like being in a real world. It's amazing.
Yeah, the depth. I was going to say the depth behind the NPCs in Power Behind the Throne is excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
all detailed in their relationships with each other, the things they know to be true, the things they believe to be true, but which aren't. And you have this web of interactions that's just, I don't think any two parties ever played through that campaign the same way.
No, it doesn't. I know, absolutely.
I don't envy you trying to run it.
You just need a lot of notes, but luckily you can get a PDF with all of your purchases.
Oh,
nice. Fantastic! From using Bits and Mortar or our own web store. So having the PDF, have that open in a separate screen.
That's something I was going to say. There's something we put a lot of effort into. It is the mapping all of that out and making it as transparent for the GM as possible. There's a lot of tools that we're putting into it to just to help track all of that stuff. That's been one of the challenges, I think.
It doesn't matter how transparent it is to the GM or what happens, the players will probably still be confused for a good.
I know I am.
That's the best part.
I dropped in after not having played for 6 weeks or something like that, and we were in a completely different city. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I'll just stand here at this party and eat hors d'oeuvres.
It'll probably be fine. And you do something like that, and you can brush up against someone who has starts chatting to you and has a totally interesting connection to the plot. It's a great scenario. Fantastic. And it charts a nice progress to the campaign in terms of how it opens out. And that's something that I think leading into the last two parts of the Enemy Within will be very interesting, because the Horned Rat and Empire in Flames are both very novel compared to the other segments of the campaign, which have been updated and expanded, and it's a director's cut. But the Horned Rat was something that was a vision for the original campaign, but was never fully realized or at all, in fact. And Graham has done amazing work in putting together that, and it's brilliant to be on the inside and to have worked on that with Graham and to have read it and seen this piece of the puzzle that when you read it, you're like, oh, this was the bit that was missing for before, even though Something Rotten and Kislev is brilliant in its own way. This just seems to fit much more naturally. It plays onto the connections you've made. It builds on who you've been becoming during the course of the campaign. So that's been fascinating. And Empire in Flames is a fantastic kind of crescendo to the whole thing, to bring it all crashing down. So it's been fantastic.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward as well to the archives. That's something I think we haven't mentioned as much. That's a lovely selection of articles, essentially, isn't it, from on a variety of topics.
Yeah, there's some great authors had input on that, and it's been really, really fun to go through it. So they're all nice chapter-sized bites of, here's a thing, here's a separate section of the Empire that hasn't been covered in much detail before. For example, here's a little bit of updated material from previous editions, but generally all quite new and novel. And it's I think there's something in that one for everybody. So that is a nice piece.
Yep, excellent. Cool. Any last things you'd say on Warhammer before we move on, Pàdraig? Covered a lot there.
Yeah, we did. Very excited about things coming down the road. Very nice book of magic, a bestiary that Zach may have hinted around there. I'm excited about both of those, and a few things that are totally unannounced, which is exciting.
There's more than a few, isn't there? I think
there's a ton. There's a ton of stuff, in fact. But you
can see the sweat.
It's okay. I'm fine.
No pressure.
It's from talking, or realizing that I may have mixed up the name of Empire in Ruins and Empire in Flames earlier. But let's just totally pass that by. The things I didn't mention: Uberjack Adventures 2 is out. It's available for pre-order right now. If you order it now, you will get the PDFs of the first two adventures, Deadly Dispatch and Double Trouble, which I really, really enjoyed running both of them, and we had to cut Double Trouble short just as you guys were getting towards the crescendo of it all, and it was brilliant. It's another puzzly one that's quite nice to watch players stumble or stab their way through.
I was sweating. I was definitely sweating on that one. That was good. And
Deadly Dispatch is a very nice one. And if you ever get a chance, make T.S. Lucar tell you about where the seed for that one came from many, many years ago. And it's a very good tale by itself. And the only other thing I'll add is we have amazing dice trays for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, available in 3 different varieties of super cool art, and they're available exclusively online from ourselves and the C7 web store or from All Rolled Up. And they're really, really nice, actually. And even in these days of playing on virtual tabletops, they're a good way to deaden the sound of hard dice hitting tables. So they're a nice piece, I have to say. The Reichland map is back in stock. Map of Glorious Reichland, that was out for a while. It's back. So it'll have been back for 2 weeks by the time you're seeing this, I think.
I was thinking about what's the things if you're catching up with us for a little bit of a roundup. I think that the last things that we've put out was Death on the Reich, the campaign book, and It's Your Funeral, which is a PDF that Graham Davis put together, which is excellent, and I'd recommend you check that out. And next will be the Death on the Right Companion and more Uber's Reich Adventures. Cool. Okay, great. Excellent. So for more on Wuffer Up, I think we should have some more videos on the YouTube channel, Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And keep an eye out for our hashtag Warhammer Wednesday posts on social media channels and blog.
And what Dom just did there was save me from having missed that part of my notes where I was meant to say all of that. So thanks, Dom. This is the type of saving grace that you bring to every project you get.
It's management. It's just
bailing me out.
I do my best.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. So we'll move on to Emmet now and Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Emmet, what is going on with Warhammer Age of Sigmar at the moment?
Loads. We've like Wuffer Up, we've tons of stuff in the pipe. Unlike Wuffer Up, we don't have that many things out just yet. The Soulbound core book was released a few months back. That's printing now. I'm hoping that we should be able to see some maybe samples soon of that. The collector's edition is printing as well, as is the GM screen, and the supplement that comes with that, which is Cities of Flame. And then upcoming, we have the starter set coming out soon, and we just released the first adventure in Shadows in the Mist, which is our first kind of big campaign for Soulbound. And the first adventure, Bloodtide, is out. So if you pre-order Shadows in the Mist, you'll get each adventure as it comes out, as they're released, and as well as the city guide to Anvilgard. So yeah, those are kind of the things on the immediate horizon. Actually, I totally forgot the other big thing. I believe we are showing off the cover for Champions of Order, which is our upcoming player options book. Cover done again by the incredibly talented Johan Grenier, who has done all the covers for Soulbound and did the Wrath and Glory cover as well. He's done a really just fantastic cover for Champions of Order again, which looks great. The book itself is really starting to come together. A huge chunk of the writing done. I think people will be pretty interested to see what that's coming with that. So, for players, we have more archetypes you can play as. You'll see some of them on the core book cover, but the big thing with this is we're introducing the Lumineth Realm Lords, who are the new elven faction from Age of Sigmar. Kind of Teklian elves, who are really, really interesting. So we've got 4 new archetypes for those in there. We've also got an archetype for pretty much all the other factions as well. And one thing we're introducing is sub-factions, which are kind of they're another little bonus that you get on top of them depending on what sub-faction you're from. So for the Free Peoples, it's what city are you from? Are you from Hammerhal and Akshi, or are you from the Hammerhal Gira, or one of the cities further afield? And then you have the Stormhost, the Stormcast Eternals, and Sylvaneth Glades and Fireslayer Lodges and stuff. So each of those, they add yet more options again. They're like a mini talent in themselves, which is probably amounts to like 40 new little features in there, I'd say. As well as that,
I think that's one of the things that people have been really reacting to as well with Soulbound, isn't it? Is the range of character choices that you have anyway in the core, and I think that people are going to be really excited when they see some of the archetypes on offer now.
With some really nice stuff. I've kind of just dove straight into Soulbound, but if you want a rundown of exactly what Soulbound is and who the Soulbound are, So it'll lead into the Age of Sigmar, and the rules and how they work and how to make a character. We have videos up on our YouTube channel.
I was going to ask people who their favorite archetype is.
Probably one of my favorite things about Soulbound is the fact that in nearly every party, someone will be playing a tree.
Yeah.
And then the other people are like Dwarden and elves and stuff. Like, it's so exciting. And I think, like, even Johann's covers, you can see that the Kurnoth Hunter is on there being huge and really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's just other, like, amazing archetypes to play around with as well.
I mean, the thing about Champions of Order actually is, and this is not a spoiler because it's going to be on the cover, so I guess it is a little bit of a pre-spoiler for the cover. But now with Champions of Order, you can play an evil tree, essentially. So we have the Spite Revenants in it, who are really interesting kind of subfaction within the Sylvaneth. Their origins are completely mysterious. It's the Forgotten Season, basically, where all the Sylvaneth have this gap in their memory where they can't remember what happened for like 100 years. And then where their memory picks up, the Spite Revenants exist. And no one really knows if they are like chaos-touched Sylvaneth or what they are. But Alariel has purposely wiped their memories so that they forget what happened.
No one knows what they are, but they sure are angry.
Yeah, they're very angry about it. Yeah,
everyone knows.
Yeah. So yeah, we have those. They're really, really cool and really interesting as a Soulbound, because they kind of hear this discordant spirit song. So yeah, a lot of kind of interesting role-playing opportunities with them.
Yeah. So what's your favorite archetype in Soulbound, Emmet?
I usually say the Night Quester, because I find the Stormcast Eternals really interesting and a bit tragic. To them, the Night Quester in particular, they're kind of given this holy duty, and they have to go and perform it, and they don't really get to ask any questions why. They just have to go and do it. Stormcast Eternals I find generally very interesting as well, because they don't remember who they are, but they get these fragments of their memories that are gradually rebuilding. But there's some new archetypes in Champions of Order that I really like, and I think I have another one I'm eyeing that I think I want to play, if I ever get to actually play.
What about you, Zach?
I think one of the most interesting things about Soulbound, even when you just look at the cover straight away, you can see the Kurnoth Hunter. And I think all of the Sylvaneth are really interesting. Just being able to play like a living plant is really, really fascinating and kind of a new role-playing experience. But it's kind of, I love the opposite of that as well. You have the Caradron Overlords and the really interesting Dwarden technology and then flying around up in the sky. There's so many like really cool things. My answer is I can't pick. Really cool. There's so many
as well.
Well, the best thing is you can be a 12-foot tall tree that also has stealth. So you just stand there and just act natural. But
my favorite one's been the so far that I've played in our play tests has been the one I can never remember the name of, the
Night Venator. Yeah,
Night Venator.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome. With the
that was fantastic. There's just something amazing about being able to fly.
Yeah, the star. You have your Star Eagle buddy as well.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
big gold flying tank.
Oh yeah,
so much fun.
Yeah.
Where are we at the moment? We've got the everything is. It's always difficult with these recording the videos in advance, isn't it? Everything is being printed at the moment, isn't it, for the rule book? So I think we're expecting that to. We should get hold of it in September, I think. Is that right?
Hopefully, yeah. I suppose it depends on shipping and things like that, but yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll land with us in September, and we can see about start sending things out to people. I can't wait. I am so excited to get it in physical copy. The PDFs are great, but I just want to flick through the book, and I want to see the collector's edition as well.
Oh, the collector's edition! I don't know if people have seen our collector's edition things before, but it is basically we are huge gamers and we love games, but we're also kind of book geeks too, and we just we're making these lovely things for ourselves. So the anticipation in the office when one of our collectors or limited editions is coming through is palpable, isn't it? It's I can't wait. I think that with Soulbound, it just looks fantastic. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, our designers have done brilliant work.
Yep, definitely. And it's in another magnet box, and it's gonna be great. Awesome! I can't wait to see that either.
And faux leather bound, because I know we actually had some people who didn't want it because they thought it was actual leather. Because
the Game Master screen as well. That's about to go to print, isn't it? You can order that, pre-order that at the moment, and that one is being made. What else have we got coming out imminently?
Yeah, so the GM screen is the 3-panel landscape, again, artwork done by the amazing Johan Grenier, and then that comes with the Cities of Flame supplement, which is a 32-page supplement with 25 one-page adventures. I realize I said a lot of numbers there, but there's adventures set in 5 of the major cities in the Great Parchin, actually. So they're really nice. Again, similar to Wolfrup, they have the one-page adventures, which are really nice. But again, going off what Pàdraig was saying about the starter set, the Wolfrup starter set heavily influenced what we've done on Soulbound, again, kind of with your direction, Dom. So the Soulbound starter set is pretty close. So all the writing is done, a huge amount of the art is done, parts of it are in layout, so we're hoping to get that out in the next few weeks, which would be brilliant.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, and that comes with 48-page adventure called Faltering Light, written by Jacob Rogers, who's one of our writers here, which introduces the rules and how to play. And then we have a 64-page guide to Brightspear, which is a brand new city in Asperia. Really, really interesting city. It was under the control of Tzeentch for pretty much the whole Age of Chaos, so hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's built on an ancient kind of mage city, but underground they have their Agloraxian citadels, which are essentially fallout shelters. But because of the change magic that just permeates the whole place, the citadel is unmappable, and it changes every time you return to it, or it's like walking through an Escher painting. Basically, it's you can't actually map it. So we have that, and it comes with guide to the city, loads of hooks, loads of NPCs, like 70 or 80 locations. Then we have character sheets and tokens and the party sheet and handouts and things. But again, like Wolfrup, we wanted to make sure that it's a great introduction for people who've never played the game or don't know Age of Sigmar, but also it's hugely beneficial for people who already have the core book and who already know how to play the game. So you have tokens for Soulfire and Doom and Metal, which you can use in your game. You have the guide to Brightspear, which is going to be eminently useful. And then you have the adventure, which you can play through as well. You can kind of skip the rules bits if you already know the rules bits, but the adventure itself is really interesting. And then you have the handouts, which are helpful for players and things like that. So there's lots packed in there that is useful for people even if they already own the core book.
And dice.
And dice, of course, yeah. Sorry, you need dice to play.
It's great. There's so much stuff packed into it. It's I think that's going to be really special.
Yeah,
it's so exciting.
And then we've just released a pre-order for Shadows in the Mist, which is our kind of campaign book set in the city of Anvilgard, which is one of my favorite cities in Age of Sigmar. It's shrouded in green mist. It's basically a pirate city. Full of elves and corsairs and sorceresses, darkling sorceresses and things. The city is shrouded in perpetual mist because it's surrounded by ever-growing jungle. That there's active volcanoes nearby which burn away the jungle, but the jungle grows back quicker and it threatens to overtake the city. So the city is ringed with these cannons that shoot defoliant gas at them that burns away the plants. So the city is forever clouded in this green mist, which is perfect for shady organizations to take root in. Pirates, yeah, exactly. So
it's quite an epic thing as well, isn't it? It's a huge adventure and a source book, sort of all wrapped up together.
Yeah. So the book is 6 adventures and a guide to Anvilgard as well, which again, similar to the Brightspear guide, has loads of different locations, tell you how the city works, tell you about the major factions that play there. And there's a huge variety of factions in the city. You have the Ironweld Arsenal and the Darkling Covens and the Daughters of Cain and the Stormcast Eternals and all these kind of things that you're trying to navigate. So we just released the pre-order for that, and if you pre-order now, or if you just buy the complete PDF, you'll get the first adventure, Bloodtide, which sees the party going out onto the Searing Sea in a Corsair ship, which is awesome. And then, as each new PDF adventure or city guide, as the city guide is released, you'll get the PDF update immediately. So you'll have them in your library straight away. So that's really interesting for us as well. So those are kind of the imminent things. After that, we'll have Champions of Order, and then we are currently working on Horrors of the Mortal Realms, which is our big monster book for Age of Sigmar. Which realistically we could fill 2 monster books with all of the amazing creatures in the Age of Sigmar world, but we're going one monster book for now, and then that'll be coming. And then we have a couple of things. Well, we have tons of things planned for next year, but we can't talk about them just yet.
Not just yet, but no, I think that is plenty to be getting on with. So awesome stuff. Excellent.
It's really fun.
Thank you very much. Again, on our YouTube channel, we've got the videos that Emmet was talking about that go through character creation and counter building and lots of other things. So have a look at those, and keep an eye on the website. Awesome. Great. So Zach, tell us about Warhammer 40,000 Wrath and Glory, please.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So the rule book, we're in the second round of errata, so probably by the time this comes out, it will be sent off to print, which is very, very exciting. So it's 40k roleplay, but kind of as in a different way to how you've seen it before. I think everyone loves the old D100 Warhammer 40,000 roleplay. This is kind of a new direction, not just with the system, but kind of with the setting as well. So it's a D6 dice pool system that's a bit more accessible. If you've played any of the tabletop battle games, it's pretty easy to get into, just rolling pools of dice. So it's less intimidating to start off with, a bit less crunchy, and it also lets you play as more diverse characters. So rather than with something like Dark Heresy or Rogue Trader, where you're all playing kind of the same people in a group, Wrath and Glory kind of opens it up in Warhammer 40,000, so you could play as a Space Marine, and someone else could be playing as a Tech Priest, and someone could be playing as a Commissar, and you could all be working together, even for the Inquisition. So it's it gives you the freedom to tell stories your way, which we think is really important. Like Warhammer, all of the Warhammer lines are so wide open and so beloved, and everyone kind of has a little bit of their own interpretation. So the more freedom you have, the more you can kind of play your way, which I think is great. The story of Wrath and Glory is slightly different as well. So there's obviously recently we had one of the biggest events in Warhammer 40,000 ever, with the emergence of the Great Rift that tore the galaxy in half. Wrath and Glory is set in the Gilead system, which is a small system of planets on the bad side of the Great Rift, where there's no contact to the rest of the Imperium. So the characters that you play are the heroes holding out against the darkness without any support. I think we all love Warhammer 40,000 for its kind of grim darkness and kind of feeling a little bit like your life isn't that important. But in this setting, it absolutely is. You are the kind of the last defenders, and it gives you a chance to be a bit more heroic than you would be in some Warhammer 40,000 things, which is very cool, especially as you get to set up what your group is all about and what kind of adventures you want to go on.
Yeah. So the Imperium Nihilus is the part of the Imperium that's in need of gentrification.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of in need of not being on fire.
That would be good. Less demons, please.
Less demons, yeah. Demons can walk directly out of the Great Rift and are terrorizing everyone. But the Gilead system is just one place that's fighting back. It's cut off from everywhere else, but there's a nice diversity of planets and different parts of the setting, which I think we'll talk a little bit about later.
There's definitely a feeling, isn't there, of no one's going to help you. You've got to do this yourself.
It's still dark. Don't get me wrong, but it's very much you can make a difference. It's just going to be really hard to do so.
I made a difference. I gave someone a new leg. Was it a leg or an eye? Maybe it was an eye.
Yeah.
It was an
eye.
That session,
camera eye.
It was an eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he already had a big leg. I
Performed
think.
some backyard surgery.
Yeah, which never should
he
have
had
worked.
A big leg for mutation.
I think I was a desperado or something, and I just rolled really well.
You had loads of towels and hot water. You could do anything.
Yeah.
That
was one of the moments I think we all fell in love.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the game itself.
Yeah. With the system as well, and I think that the fact that it could well be completely on its own as well, as because the everything's been cut off. There's no sort of there was one flotilla that made it in. Nobody else has been able to get in or out. So for all you know, the Gilead system could be all that's left of the Imperium. I think it's a really there's some. And then what happens when you're in a situation like that? Where do people go? Do they try and keep to the rules that have got them this far, or is everything out the window? All bets off, and it's just survival. In any way that you can scrape it together. There's loads of interesting possibilities, and especially loads of interesting possibilities for those disparate groups, isn't it? Of lots of people from all over the Imperium or from each of the different factions, and they're thrown together, and they've just got to get on with it.
Yeah, it's really like the idea that a society or groups and things that are built on such a strict hierarchy and waiting to get told what to do next. If that top bit is just cut off, like basically if like you just left and it was left to us, and it'd just be a mess.
I'm sure it would be wonderful.
Yeah. But then you have like how do they deal with that? If they're so used to getting orders from up
leadership,
above, what happens if that's just gone? And then you can have people who could just abuse that and say, oh well, I was told, I've been getting messages secretly.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like, actually, I was told I'm in charge, so you work for me now. But that's like, the politics of it are really interesting because as someone who, like, I absolutely love in Warhammer 40,000 the inherent comedy of the huge grinding bureaucracy. And the factions of the Imperium, like, with all their diversity, and there's so many different ways to play with, like, the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Adeptus Astartes and the Adeptus Sororitas, all with different even like religious beliefs, despite being on the same side. They constantly clash without some form of leadership. So you've always got like quite an interesting party of adventurers. It's and then the system itself is like all built around supporting that idea of there being these different, very unique characters all playing off of each other.
Yeah. No, cool. And the rule books that you say it's just about to head off to print at the moment, isn't it? So probably will be at print by the time people are watching, and should be, I think, with the September as well. Obviously, sometimes it takes longer or shorter to get to various places once we've got that as well. So before I say all these things, I should go, when is it actually going to get to stores? Probably October, I would say. October, possibly into November.
I think so. That's
time. Time is just so difficult, isn't it? But no, we'll keep an eye on the website.
Yeah, and until then, we've got a load of resources that are already up. Obviously, the character sheets. There's a free adventure that's already available, going to the Cemetery Moon of Dale-Clutterbuck, which is really fun and a appropriately dark introduction to Warhammer 40,000. And we're going to be revealing like a few more bits on the website and adding information all the time. But coming up after that, the next thing on the list is the Forsaken System Player's Guide. Not too dissimilar to Champions of Order. It's going to be kind of expanding the players' options, the archetypes they can choose from, giving you more detail on the factions of the Imperium and the kind of figureheads of each one who are claiming to be in charge, and how each of those play off against each other. One thing that I think is really fun about Wrath and Glory, like I said, is you can kind of make up what your party's doing and what their actual job as adventurers is. But if you want a little bit more guidance in that regard, each of the patrons has 2 frameworks, which is kind of like, we're going to do adventures like this for this person. So it gives you a bit more structure.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
We're definitely going to be revealing some more of the actual archetypes that will be in the book at UK Games Expo.
I feel like we've played loads of different archetypes as well in Rotten Glory. What's been your favourite, Pàdraig?
Imperial Guard for life. Basically, I love the Guard. I think that I like ordinary people pitted against all of the horrific stuff that occupies that universe. It's the most relatable experience to me. I do think that's cool that you can be a psyker or you can be a space marine. But I love the idea of an Imperial Guardsman with an overpowered flashlight in the back going, why am I here? How many arms does he have? I think that's the key experience for me.
Yep. Excellent. Emmet?
Well, I always go with Desperado just because I like singing every time we play. But like, I really enjoyed playing Desperado and making a silly leap off a big mine shaft thing. I can't remember what it was, but I actually probably had the most fun when I played a psyker and just kept opening my mind to the warp. I'm like, more please, more warp.
The people around you found that harder.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah,
for you. Yeah,
you can tell that I don't get to play a lot because when I do, I'm always a GM, and when I get to play, I'm like, let's be the silliest thing,
the most dangerous and silliest,
and do the creepiest, weirdest voice.
Basically, it's time for revenge, isn't it? For everything we put.
Exactly. Yeah. It's payback time.
Excellent.
I think I know the answer to this question for you, Dom.
You think I'm going to say Commissar?
I do, yeah.
What was your Commissar's name again? He had a memorable name.
I can't remember now. I assume you're referring to Martin Parr, Commissar.
That was it.
The Parr family got around during playtesting.
They did, yeah.
Well, the relative, it was we had Parkerlites as well, didn't we?
Oh, Martin Parkerlite, yeah.
That didn't even rhyme as it was. I don't know what I was thinking.
Wait, wasn't there was a Martin Pardsman, Imperial Guardsman?
Yes, there was.
That was the one.
I remember him.
At that point, wasn't it? It was, yeah. So that's why Emmet needs to get revenge.
Yeah. So there's a game in here. Dom's second name of his character and guess the archetype.
I was very tired. There's a lot.
I'm just amazed we didn't end up with Uncle Fester Night Quester or something in Age of Sigmar.
How did we not do that?
We take it all incredibly seriously. None of that happened.
No, you can't have fun playing games.
No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. The Acolyte, I think that's been my favourite character to play so far. I really, that was really cool. Just being lowly Inquisition minion. That there was some fun to that, to being sort of like part of this really powerful organisation and being nothing.
I mean, that's the weird thing. Like between Woofrup and Wrath and Glory and Soulbound, there's every power level you can imagine between those games, from like below the gutter to almost literal god.
Yeah,
there's a chance for everything, really.
Huge amount, isn't there?
Yeah, and we still have to, I mean, we should have done it for this. We said we need to each play a character from our own lines and all have them in the same game and see how that works.
I would love that. No problem.
So coming up soon, we've got a load of adventure content as well. First up is Scions of the Fane, which is a series of 5 interlinked adventures, kind of planet hopping, exploring the different parts of the Gilead system while you track down a Dark Mechanicus cult. So you get to see some really cool stuff in there, like actually being in deep space and fighting out there, as well as being on the ground on a Forge world and a Night world, engaging in like courtly intrigue while there's a giant mechanical battle suit beside you. There's all sorts of fun stuff going on in that one. And alongside that, we also have Litanies of the Lost, which is 5 less linked adventures that are meant to kind of be kind of one and done, nice little different ways to explore the world of Warhammer 40,000.
Excellent.
And then coming on not too long after that, we have Church of Steel, which will be a guide to using vehicles in your games and featuring a lot of new vehicles and new weapons. I think everyone who has anything to do with Warhammer 40,000 is a little bit of a gearhead. So if so, this book is for you. It's kind of streamlined rules that sit on top of the standard rules, so it's really easy to play with. And then loads of customization and cool vehicles and all the machine spirits that you can shake a data slate at. And more, probably.
Excellent.
And then,
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that one will be really fun. I can't wait to do a little bit more testing on that. It's really fun. And then following on from that, we have a 6-book series of the Imperial cities, which is kind of a deep dive into each of the major cities, one on each planet in the Gilead system. So getting more of the ground level feel of what it's like to be on a Forge world or a Hive world or even like an Agri world. There's loads of interesting politics in there of like one planet feeds 7 other planets because they're all basically radioactive wasteland, and this one has all the fields. So loads of fascinating things that are kind of always been mentioned in Warhammer 40,000, but on the edges of that we want to be able to explore.
And with those, we're looking at giving as well as giving like information on a specific city. It's also kind of set up to be a template for other cities of that type as well, isn't it? There's a lot of
absolutely
on creating your own and extrapolating from the information we've got in there.
Yeah, so there'll actually be like building plans and things like that, and also there's a lot of commonality between like from one Forge world to another. The Imperium, weirdly, doesn't like originality very much. So a lot of the stuff is easy to port over for your own home games. There's loads of adventure hooks for you to kind of take and run with. Loads of characters at different strata of society that you can use. So they'll be like very handy for the GM who wants to run more Wrath and Glory stuff or create their own Warhammer 40,000 roleplay content.
That sounds great. I think this is actually the first time hearing of this. Like, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, I've seen individual bits of it, but never like, the big picture.
Yeah. The idea cool. is like the starter set from Woofrup and again some of the stuff I've seen with Soulbound, and then also in the Enemy in Shadows companion. I found all of the different characters so useful. And I feel like you can't really get a true feel of a place unless you know more about its people at every level. So putting those together was basically the idea, because we've got the space to do it, and it'll be really fun, I think.
Yep. Yeah,
that's great.
Thanks, Zach. That's great. What else have we got? Other stuff going on at the moment. I'll just mention quickly, we've got the Doctor Who role-playing game. We're working on a second edition of that as well, so we'll have a bit more of an update on that soon. And I mean, with everything, keep up to date with all the latest Cubicle 7 news. There's a couple of different places that you can go to for that. So we have our the blog on the website, cubicle7games.com. Click on news and events, and that will have all of the latest on there. You can sign up to our newsletter on the website too, and then you'll never miss a release or any of the latest news. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram that you can keep an eye out there for regular Warhammer Wednesday, Mortal Realms Monday, and 40k Friday posts, amongst others. So, fantastic. Twitter at Cubicle7, Facebook at Cubicle7 Entertainment, Instagram Cubicle7, and we have our YouTube channel as well, Cubicle7 Entertainment. So thank you so much for coming along to the seminar. Come and join us on the Games Expo site, and we can. What were they again? I'll remind myself. We have the virtual booth. Come along and chat to us there. We're all aiming to be on, and we'll probably be on at different times and things like that. So come and see who's there. We have the dedicated part of our website, cubicle7games.com/UKGE. So there'll be some signposting for some of the stuff that we're doing there, and some dedicated updates. The games will be running online as part of the expo. There'll be more details on that on our website. There's a Discord server. Again, go to the website and you'll be able to find out about that, and some more videos as well, which we'll link to from that part of the website. Cool. Excellent. No, thank you again. I hope you found that useful, and hope to talk to lots of you over the weekend. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Thanks all. Bye.